DLQs we were discussing is there was a young lady who made several calls in an attempt to make her boyfriend commit suicide. He finally did. And I was reminded, you know, in a very stark way, in a way I wasn't even aware of doing the broadcast, how close to home the thought of suicide hits. So during the, you know, we took the DLQ and we asked several questions. And at that point, my son Kyle, he gets on and he tells a story about how he was in 2014. He was so down and so depressed that he actually was in his car crying and called a suicide hotline prevention center. And you know, it's ironic and funny in a weird way that the woman asked him to hurry up because she needed to go on break, and he actually hung up the phone and laughed at his predicament. And then he and I and his mother, I think that hearing that for the first time shocked me, and it was all I could do to get to a broadcast to know how close I'd come to losing my son. And I got a lot of hits on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook where people thought I was making light of it. I most certainly was not. It was stark and bracing to find out how close I'd come to losing my son. And what hit me even harder was that some people don't have the opportunity to talk to their children because they've, you know, we have to face the fact that some children, some young people seem so hopeless and so out of sorts that they end up taking their lives and never be heard from or seen again, and that's devastating for a family. Just the thought of that almost made me unable to complete the broadcast. And so, if anybody thought I was making light of it, I sincerely that was not my intent. It was my way of dealing with it in a comedic way. And if I missed the mark, then it certainly was not my intent. But I'll say this: to pretend as if the problems that plague other communities don't plague ours, i.e. suicide, i.e. depression, is crazy. You can't pray those things away. You can't hope them away. You can't wish them away. You have to work them away. My son is only here because my wife and daughters insisted that we have an intervention, insisted that we talk to him, insisted he started coming to work with us. We were able, fortunately, to get him to a place where now that seems like such a faraway place. I'm fortunate to have my son here, and there are a lot of people who are not. And for that, you have my deepest condolences, because it must be a devastating thing, and I would never make light of it. But I think that the great thing about this is hearing a cat like this young man, like my son, who I'm so proud of and love so much, and shared an experience in a way that was both comical and human. It shows me a couple of things. It should show other people a couple of things. God, if you're dealing with a child that is in a place, you have to recognize it, and you have to take steps to make sure you mitigate. You have to make steps to take steps to reach out to them, and not think you can just pray it away, and not think it's going to go away on its own. You have to make sure they know that they're not alone, and then to make sure things are better. If anything else, he stands as an example of what it was like to be in a dark place and what it's like to be in a lighter place. And I thank God that my son is here. I thank God that he was able to share an experience that hopefully will touch some of you. I thank God that I get to go to work with my son all the time, and I get to see my son, and I get to hold my son. I thank God that my son, every day when we get to work together, when I'm in Los Angeles and we're all working together, I get the honor of having my son fuck my lunch order up every single time. And I get the honor of watching my son hire prostitutes, which I should be ashamed of, but I'm just glad he's here. So, son, I love you. And next time I order a pizza, no onions. That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.